And hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, B-O-L-E-S. .television, yes, it's the Soylent t-shirt today. They did deliver, actually, my green Soylent bars. Last week, it only took about 6 weeks after I won the contest for them to deliver, but they did deliver, and I had already spent the $250 they sent me. I'm very happy. I'm not complaining. However, hey, it's Gordon. We deliver to you. I'm not sure, you're quoting something, but I'm not sure what it is. And this is a strange day because it is very cool in the living room and in the bedroom. And back here, where I am, which is a windowless room with the elevators on this side and the air conditioning back here and the fan on the floor right there, is very stuffy because there's no way to get the air moving unless you turn on the air conditioner. But the air conditioner is 3 times louder than my little fan. So it's hot back here and cool over there. This is called a 1+ bedroom, and the plus is where I am, which is really perfect. So it has no window, it has a closet, it has no door. So the kitchen is 2 feet away from me, that away. So I have my little fan on the floor, which is a favorite of everyone's over here, on high. And when I speak, I speak what I'm hearing locally and not what's being broadcast, because I can't figure out how to do the broadcast sound. So all I hear as I'm speaking is no music. I know that I can see the music is playing, but all I hear is a fan and me talking over the fan. But when I listened to it yesterday, the fan sound was okay. It was there, but not terrible. So NVIDIA Broadcast is doing their job with noise suppression. Gordon says in the late 80s and early 90s, the United States Postal Service had commercials on television where there was someone singing, we deliver for you. I got one word wrong. Okay. I like that. I like making odd references to culture because it's the big difference between the ages and generations of people. And I never really understood that. You know, you hear about relationships with people and how the stereotype is old men get tired of their old women who are on menopause and done with life. And so they go and they find their, young 20-year-old secretary. That's the story that never ends. And then the women get angry and they gang together, and there are movies, books, all about that kind of thing. But the one thing they say you can never really overcome is the cultural difference. That a 60-year-old man with a 20-year-old woman might be great privately, sexually, maybe, for one of them. But after that, then what? What do you have to discuss? Do you know the United States postal jingles from the 1980s? Can you sing it with me? What's a post office? So that resonates the more as I get into aging, and I am not old. People might try to tell me I'm old, but I'm not old. I may feel old, but I'm not old. And songs and musics and things that you can sing along and cultural references and hot people who were hot when you were hot and they were not. And, if there's a 10, 15-year difference between people, they have different common cultural touchstones. It's a fact of life and a fact of living, and I appreciate it more and more when I'm around old people like me who get my jokes and my odd references to things I quote. And even people my age don't understand what I'm talking about. But at least they ask me, like, what are you talking about? Or the younger generation just kind of look at you like, what's wrong with you? He's gone over the edge. We've done everything we can. Faster, better, stronger, smarter. Not him. Only Colonel Steve Austin. Who? So I went to the skin doctor yesterday. Hey, it's Gordon. Even geographic differences are big. Very good point. For years, when we lived in Seattle, I would sing to Elizabeth, his lovely wife, Carvel ice cream, Carvel ice cream. And she had never heard or seen the TV commercial for Carvel because it doesn't exist in Washington State as it does in the tri-state area. That's funny. And what's the name of the whale? Whippy the whale, Woody the whale. Everybody around here knows they want a whale for their birthday cake. And I don't know if ice cream birthday cakes are a big thing. In the Midwest, they're Fudgy the Whale. I knew Gordon would know. Now we need a picture of Fudgy the Whale. Maybe, I guess I'll have to find it now. Now I've gone all off the rails. It's only 9:13. Remember, ice cream cakes being a big thing growing up in Nebraska. But on the East Coast, boy, they're big. People love an ice cream cake. And this is the infamous Fudgy the Whale. I find them sort of hard to eat because it's like it's ice cream on top of cake that is then frozen. So the ice cream is cold, but so is the cake. That's the thing, I guess. But this is cute. You can't deny Fudgy the Whale. Who wouldn't want a Fudgy the Whale from Carvel? You have to try one. And now Baskin Robbins, they have ice cream cakes. And they can be good, from what I hear. Some of them are, I guess, they even made vegetarian/vegan. Oh, look at this. Fudgy the... Is that Fudgy the beer? Is that what that's? That can't be beer. I don't think Carvel sells beer. But anyway, it looks enticing. It's a stroll down memory lane. Commissioner Gordon says, we got Malka a Fudgy one year for her birthday. Her birthday is May 18. Oh, as in my late father's. Well, that's fantastic. Wow, that's a connection. And we had a hard time getting a bus. And by the time we got home, he was much less cold. Oh, hello. Yeah, that's a problem. Although, if you're eating an ice cream cake, I would prefer that it does warm up a little bit. And I didn't really know that about ice cream. I learned that when you eat ice cream, you're not supposed to pull it out of the freezer and start eating it. That is uncouth. And Gordon says, hey, remember, her name sounds like mall, as in, let's go to the mall. Am I not pronouncing it Malka? I'm very sorry. Thank you for the correction. I guess I was saying it wrong. Okay. I've pronounced it right in the past, I believe, because what Gordon tells me is absolutely how you would pronounce it if you were reading it. Hey. Oh. Now we get a link from Gordon. And we never know what we're going to get. Sometimes he tells us and sometimes he just surprises us. But here we go. Uh-oh. Fudgy the beer. This disappoints me a little bit. Are you 21 or older? Oh. Unfortunately, I am. I'm going to the Malka. That's how you teach people to remember things. Associated with something. Fudgy Fanatics. What happened? Fudgy the beer is back just in time for Father's Day. What? The stout style ale will be available for a limited time. Meow. A limited time and can be purchased direct shipping at your favorite finer retailers. Can you buy it at a Carvel store? I would think not. I don't think they have a liquor license. Unbelievable. It must be chocolate beer, which seems like kids would really want to try that. Just like the Jack and Coke. Now, somebody on TV was talking about the Jack and Coke in a can. I think it was on the live stream. I think it was Dean Watson. Grand Theft Auto. They tried it, the Jack and Coke in a can, and they loved it. They said it was just the perfect blend. And Buddha, Lang Buddha. They just thought it was terrific. Whatever they tell me, I do because they're terrific people. Fudgy the beer is available to purchase. Wow, that is amazing. Smart, too. Really smart. Dad's not going to be interested in an ice cream cake, but a Fudgy beer, who's going to turn that down? Boy, it looks like it's designed for kids. Makes me a little slightly nervous. Oh, and you can even get a shirt. Oh, that's so cute. Darling. Now I can't remember what I was talking about. I guess I was talking about going to the dermatologist. I can't remember. I was ranting about something and then I re-ranted about something else. I should write these things down. Keep forgetting. So we went to the dermatologist yesterday, skin doctor. And Arthur, at 80 years old, does not look 80. Now, Arthur, I would say, is old at 80. But if you pressed me to say, how old is this gentleman before you? I would say 60. And last time I saw him 2 weeks ago when he cut my face off, he looked extremely young and good. And I said, what is it about? Why do you look so good? Because he always has a tan, and he always feels guilty about having a tan because dermatologists say stay out of the sun. But many dermatologists I know love the sun. Probably because they can self-heal. If there's a problem, they'll cut it off, burn it off. And he said, it's my hair. And he has beautiful white hair, full head of hair. He said, it's too long. I'm getting it cut today. But I said, so is that why you look so good? He said, yes. So an 80-year-old man with long, flowing white hair looks younger than a 80-year-old man with short-cut hair. And I said, well, why cut it if you have it? And he said, well, we have it. Talking to both of us. He said, a lot of people our age don't. I said, well, that's a good one. So why cut it off? He didn't answer me. So I saw him yesterday. He looked at me for 5 seconds and said, well, that looks great. I said, well, it helps when you have a pro. And he said, I was a little worried about those 3 things we cut off. But it turns out they're just overactive sebaceous glands, fatty tissue. They looked weird, but it's all okay. Yay. I was very happy. Went in for my blue light therapy session, 9 minutes. Sitting there getting my face burned off. And it was over. But before it was over, he said, hey, what are you doing? And so I told him about this live show. And I've been doing this now, I think, for 8 months. I've never told him once. Because I know he's not going to be interested, and I know he's not going to understand. But he keeps asking me, what are you doing? So I said, well, because it relates to my face. But we never even got that far. Oh, yeah, I do a show. Yeah, a live show. And he said, what do you talk about? And I told him, crypto NFTs. And he's, staring at me. I said, do you know what those are? He said, no. Now, I know, because of stories he's told me, that his daughter is a very big, important vice president at one of the major banks in New York City. And I know the major banks and investment firms hate crypto because they can't control it. They're not fans. They don't recommend it. I said, well, your daughter won't like it, but this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, oh, I have someone in my apartment building. He had a big house in New Jersey. He and his wife sold it. They're both dermatologists in the same practice together, and moved to an apartment building near Washington Square Park, right on Fifth Avenue. And he described it to me, and I know exactly what building it is, and it's gorgeous. Woo. So he's right there. 1 block from the PATH station, 9th Street. Boom, boom, he's at work. Boom, boom, he's back home. It's terrific. He says he spends most of his time as a manny, taking care of his grandkids. I don't know how. I guess he works 2 days a week and his wife works 2 days a week, and then they're together the rest of the time. But he said he met his neighbor for the first time, and she is an influencer. And she sells things online, and all the influencer stuff. But I guess she makes enough, or somebody in her family makes enough, so they could live in that apartment building. And she was going on about how much money she makes and all that. And they said, well, how about you? How's your show doing? I said, well, it's new. He said, well, are you making money? Can you pay your rent? And I said, And he said, oh, yeah. Well, my neighbor's an influencer. Oh, so good. Talk about her, not about me. This is not a money-making ordeal, yet the great Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura said, and he's a big boy, big man, big dog in the chess world. And he said it took him 1.5 years to 2 years of streaming 8 hours a day before he made any kind of profit from his live stream. He said, you must be dedicated. You must not give up. You must have a purpose. You must be there every day. Now, that's a long time. Stream for 8 hours a day. Now, maybe I should be, playing a game and play, do this little thing for a couple of hours and then go right into playing a game for 6 hours. I don't know. I have other things I'm doing, though. So it makes it a little hard to stream. But I understand his dedication, and boy, it's paid off for him. I think they said $700,000 a year for Hikaru. From streaming only, that doesn't include tips or bundles or joints. Joints? I say tip jar, I think is what I meant to say. Or sponsorships or any of that. So he's doing very, very well. But you cannot deny that the guy is there every day in a chair, live, for 8 hours. He's there. It's amazing. So my skin doctor's neighbor is named Woods something. He didn't know her first name. Gordon says some people have the game Stream Raiders going on while they do other things like crocheting, drawing. It's somewhat a passive game and is fun if you like strategy, Dungeons and Dragons kind of things. I'll write that down. I'm just not sure if this machine can handle it, because I know the really top streamers have 2 machines and at least 2 monitors. One is a gaming machine. All it does is play the game. And then that gets somehow piped into their computer that then somehow gets piped into OBS. And one screen is the game, and the other screen is chat and all the other junk that they have to look at. Now that's a setup. There are some streamers that just play their games on their regular computers. It's fine. Gordon also says you, David, would be the captain of the team. It is like an 8-bit looking game. Now that's something I've never understood either, as an old person with cultural touchstones. There was a time when men were kind and women were soft and the world was inviting. There was a time when it all went wrong. I dreamed. Okay. When 8-bit was the best we could do. That we evolved and that we got an Xbox and we got live, real fantasy, realistic graphics and gaming. Beautiful stuff. And now for some reason, we get CryptoPunks. And we get Minecraft that looks chalky and ugly and icky. And I'm thinking, why are kids attracted to that look when they have ultra hyper realism available in their games that are more hyper and realistic than real life and more beautiful? Who wants to go back to the early 1990s and 8-bit graphics? It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It says nostalgia. But the kids don't have nostalgia. They love 8-bit stuff. It's like they don't know any better. I mean, maybe it's retro. They think they're being cool by going back to when everything was awful. Gordon says kids now will say things like, I wish I'd been alive in the 80s. Now, the 80s was awful. The 70s is where it's at. Another link from the commissioner we have to check out. Oh, look at this. I like this. I'm a captain. Stream Raiders, become a captain. Lead battles on your stream. Meow. Play free with Twitch. Hey. I like the free part. And the part that it's like made for Twitch, which sounds fun. Streamers are the captains and viewers make up the army. Well, we have no viewers except for like these bots that sit there. So it would be, I guess, me and Gordon against the world. I don't know. Play during your downtime. Show on stream for 1 to 3 minutes at a time between other games. Engage your audience. creates interaction with your chat that keeps them watching. Play straight from your browser for free. Downloadable content also available. Broadcast via OBS. Very interesting. Now, I've seen some of these gamers who do play some kind of something, but I don't know if it's this game. Oh, it is. It's 8-bit graphics. Very cute. It's another opportunity to have some fun. It might draw viewers. That's true. It just might draw viewers. Gotta figure it out. It's very true. Anything to help. And hey, before I get into this next part, I think we're going to take a very brief break because I'm afraid the ads are going to kick in. I'm going to be interrupted, and all our bots are not going to be able to know what I'm talking about. So we'll take a break, come back in a minute. And we are back. Live. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.tv. I'm David Bowles. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, January on the weekends, 11 a.m., talking about disability and language and sign language. Great stuff. And she's here, the January monster, is here today telecommuting. Now, yesterday she was here home not feeling well. And then she got a very strange email from the big boss saying to everyone in the office, leave right now. We're telecommuting everybody until further notice. Pack your things and go. That is the quote. So she saw that. And she said, I'm sick today. I don't have my computer with me to telecommute. Can I come in and get my computer so I can telecommute? Because her normal, natural telecommuting days are Friday and one Wednesday, each 2 weeks. So her boss says, okay, I'll wait for you. So she just put on her clothes and left. Got there in 45 minutes, got her computer, came back. I said, so what is it? What does that mean? Pack your stuff and get out. Go. What? I don't know. Wouldn't tell me. I said, what do you mean they won't tell you? She said, that's the way they work. Now, that building has had problems ever since they moved into it, 10 years ago. They've had leaks, floods, mold, insects, meow. And they could kind of, and I said, well, I know it's not the stomach flu that's going around. I know it's not COVID because that office has sometimes had 3 people out in 1 week with COVID, and they don't close the office. Get out. And they've done a lot of air testing over the years, which I've always found a little bit odd, not to mention suspicious. And so this morning there was a general email sent to everybody saying, hey, before the meeting we had this morning at 9, we appear to have a problem with the HVAC system, and it's going to be fixed, and until you hear back from us, everybody's telecommuting. Huh? What? That's my new favorite cultural touchstone. Pokimane saying, what? On her stream. Hey, I'm young and hip. I know who Pokimane is. And I think it's me speaking for myself that there's some kind of mold or something in the air conditioning system. It's in the ducts. It's everywhere, and it's probably making people sick. Welcome to Queens. So she's here, and she has her laptop, and we're hoping now that she'll just telecommute from now until retirement. But my feeling is it'll probably be next week she has to go back. But she's here, and she's very happy to be telecommuting. Well, here's some news about our social media beta test that we're not allowed to talk about specifically, but we can in private, but we can't in public. I have now been updated that the secret alpha beta test begins, I'm trying to make the exact phrase. Onboarding begins on Friday. Access begins on Monday. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean you're going to be onboarded on Friday? Or it begins and it might be onboarded Sunday night? I don't know. As I understand, there are only like 10 of us involved in this initial test, but who knows? They may have made it 100 or 1 million. I don't know. And access means what? That it gets turned on for the public to see on Monday? Maybe that's what that means. I don't know. I'm confused by the whole thing, but that's the fun of it, I guess. You never know what you're going to find. And so, speaking of NFT art, the other day we were talking about our friend Igba, and who is now in the beta test, and how Igba thanked me, and then I got all these other people following me. And as I checked into some of them to see if some of them might be appropriate for the beta test, I looked at their artwork and also their Twitter profile. Okay? And talked about it generically, and then Gordon sent me a painting that someone did yesterday that was very beautiful and not like what I was seeing on this NFT stuff, where it was sort of like a Russian doll within a Russian doll, where it's these young, attractive female NFT artists who show parts of their real body on their Twitter stream and then sort of, I guess, inspire their NFT art that all sort of has the same look and feel of the naked boobies and the naked bottoms. Some of it's interesting, some of it's odd. But it makes me wonder if there's some kind of cultural touchstone where that sort of posing, body in space, ballet, upbringing aesthetic is somehow embedded in the Russian social meme. And so I did a little bit of checking. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I found to kind of prove my point about this, what I'm calling Russian dollism. That's similar, but not necessarily imitative and not necessarily awful. However, if you have young children in the room, you might not want them seeing naked boobies that are drawn as cartoons. The warning has been set. 3, 2, 1. So this is the first example. Okay, now this isn't my style. I don't understand the red marks under the boobies. Maybe that's emphasis? Maybe that's a shadow. I don't know. Now, this sort of thing to me seems very purposefully drawn to get the horny young men and the horny old men to go buy the NFT so they can look at this and dream. Not my style. I would not want this included in my unknown social media beta test because I don't want to get in trouble. This would not go over with the social media company. Do you think you could find something else? Okay, so that's one example of what I'm seeing. Here's another example. This is the bare bottom pose. In this position, very, very popular. You can't see the face. You see the bare back and the bare meow. Kneeling in that provocative position. And sometimes they're twisted this way and that way and down a little more, up a little bit bad in the back. But this is the position. You get the front boobies and you get the back this. Over and over and over again. Another example. Okay, cartoons. Giant feet where the feet are bigger than the butt. Maybe that's a Russian, European thing. I don't know. Again, not my style, not something that I would want to promote on an NFT, but it's, for me, as a culturalist, fascinating to look. And here is another one. Same sort of pose, same sort of, I would say, awkward angle, because people don't really pose like this unless they're doing something. So they're doing something alone on a planet in space. The arch of the back is very similar to the arch of the back on this one. Example, the back, a little lower to the ground, yeah. But you see a pattern here. And these are all Russian European artists. It's a definite identifiable aesthetic. I can look at these and say, I know exactly what part of the world they're coming from. Now, here's another one that is an NFT that looks like a picture, photo, right? But sometimes you get in trouble by posting, real life nude photos, taking a picture of yourself in a mirror. Now, I think those are the ugliest photos that I ever see, where people take their own picture in a mirror. And you see their bathroom, and you see the hand holding their phone. I think it's ridiculously ugly. Now, here, if you have a beautiful body that you want to show off in your NFT to get the horny young and old men to buy, why include the phone? Let's just have the beautiful face and the beautiful body. Again, not my style, but definite. These kind of ring patterns, outlines, all part of it. And they're always looking at their phone, Commissioner Gordon says. That's exactly right, because that's what they're looking at themselves. If they held it, you're right, if they held it down a little bit, it gave you a provocative look, that would be more interesting. And then here we go, where that was an example from this artist of what she's doing. So this is a real life photograph with the arched back, not naked, hiding the face, that led to this. Same person, artist thing. This is another one that seems to be sort of based on some sort of reality. Again, to me, very Russian again, with the big empty spaces and the way that the body is very well posed. It's not a relaxed body, it's a posed body, but in an NFT, inspired by this real-life photograph from the artist, with naked boobies and a naked butt. So this is real life, and this is the NFT fantasy. As a collector and an outside observer and an old man who knows nothing, not terribly interesting to me artistically. But then you get into something like this, which is very Russian. A giant heart with women with red lips sucking the blood out of the heart. Not my style, not something I would include in an NFT beta test, but interesting. I mean, this one makes you stop and say, okay. But then once you do that, it's kind of over. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. Bloodsuckers. And then every once in a while, you stumble upon something like this, which really makes you say, okay, so you have the naked backside, you have the arched back, you have the hidden boobie, you have a very sad man over here, probably very horny. Very Russian, but a giant eyeball where the head is. Now, that to me is interesting. For me, it's a little bit too much nudity for this unnamed social media beta test. But for me as a person, this, I think, would look sharp in a collection. I would prefer him not to be there because it makes me uncomfortable. Because he's looking at her, but he doesn't have a face, and she has one big eye. And some kind of petals falling from her hand. But this, when you first see it, is, I would say, rather alarming. And then you meet people like Alexander Brushansky, who is a new friend of mine. And I believe he lives in Ukraine. And I invited him to be a part of this beta test, and he said, yes, I'm in. And he sent me 3 pieces of NFT artwork. And it's all very interesting. And this is the first one that he sent me. And it's in my collection. This is called Ukraine Graduation Day. It's a photograph he took. Here's a little closer version of it. And it's just beautiful and alarming and ugly at the same time. Dressed in the best clothes that they have left. They're destroying them. So this is very European. Posed, stiffly posed. And very interesting. Now, this will make a great Q&A. This will make a very interesting artist's interview. And I asked him, because our friend Igba, you might be able to do a Q&A. He doesn't really do English very well. He doesn't want to speak English. I asked our new friend Alexander, how do you feel about that? A written Q&A. We're doing written Q&As with everybody. But do you want like a Facebook Live? He said, well, I'm in Ukraine. I spend most of my time on the front lines. I have 4 kids. At night, I'm home. Okay, I understand. So he'll be a written Q&A. But this is real life. This is alarming stuff. So in this beta test, I'm going to talk about war NFTs, educational NFTs, new artist NFTs, and abstraction. I have all my topics covered right there. It's very interesting and also extremely alarming. And now, let me see if I can find this next part. Here we go. Let's get this backward. NFT.NYC is still in full swing. And here's the folks who are there having fun. And there is our good friend Ishita drinking some water, lovely nourishing water, and they're all posing in front of the Life magazine. I guess they did some interesting giveaways yesterday with some interesting artwork. It sounds terrific. Like this, which is just magnificent, was selling for the cover as an NFT, was selling for 1 Ethereum, which I think at the time was like $1,200. Here's our friend Ishita again with her friend, and another friend, and another friend, and all of her friends again, having a wonderful, wonderful time. Another piece of artwork, okay, the boobies again. You can tell this, to me, not Russian. It's just, there's a look, a feel, and an intention where you can really sort of immediately identify the Russian artists. And I really hope I can find some to celebrate, because I think it's really important. Now, let's see this next thing. Oh boy, if I can find it. Where did I put it? That's it. Well, we talked about the Mi-6 avatars having a hard time. They don't seem they can't do anything right. They've now had another technical breach where one of their support people had their account compromised. And that person put up a faker, put in a wallet that some people clicked on and lost all of their money instantaneously. And then that person was also the moderator, owner of another Discord server, went in there and deleted every text channel, the bad person. And so the end users are saying, what is going on? Why are you all so insecure? And why does that person, who I guess is a coder, a part-time coder on the Mi-6 team, who nobody even knows, why does he have what they call @everyone a power? And if you have @everyone power and access to the announcements channel, that means you can send an announcement @everyone, which means everyone on the server gets notified there's an announcement. And then you can put in a fake link, and people who know say, look, an announcement channel should never have links that go outside of your company. And put in a fake link @everyone, and steal everybody's Ethereum because people think it's an authentic offer from Me6. We know the source of the hack, and we're working towards solving any damage that this caused while the account was compromised. If you fell victim to this hack, please open a support ticket and send us the transaction information. Now, that could be read as, if they stole all your Ether, we're going to replace it for you. Now, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, they're a French company, so they're very heavily regulated. And one thing that people who are a part of this are saying, how can they be in France and not making public reports about all of these security incidents they're having? Because it's required by law. So so everyone now is mocking them. They messed up the avatar reveal for 4 weeks. Nobody has any functionality for Web3, and now this. And they said the founders, Brendan and Anis, used to be on all day, every day, talking to people, answering questions. And ever since they did this NFT drop, they have been not available. So some paranoid people are saying, oh, this is a slow rug pull. They got all of our money, they cashed out, and now they're just slowly doing delay after delay after delay after delay. And not Tom DeLay. You have to be a certain age to get that joke. And finally, in our NFT spouting, why is Bill Murray asking about Ethereum and his life? So I don't know if this is good. It seems sort of silly that Bill Murray is launching an Ethereum NFT in July when crypto is dead and dying. But maybe they think this will pop it up. NFTs include artwork, stories from his life and career, and access to a Discord community. Okay, I'll go. And Commissioner Gordon from the wilds of Florida sent us this yesterday. This also is from a notice from a Discord server saying, but it was posted on Twitter, hey, there's an alert if you are at nft.nyc. There are reports of scam billboards in New York City with QR codes leading to wallet drainer sites. And here you go. See, there you go. At everyone. So this person has the power to zoom everyone on that server and let them know, which is a grand power that I didn't really even understand until Me6 brought it up. And QR codes can be dangerous, but they're also very convenient. And we talked about this with our friend Dora a couple of months ago, where she will not ever scan a QR code on her phone because she's terrified. Now, Dora also does not do mobile banking or anything crypto or NFT. Crypto and NFT is banned by her work because she works in finance. But she could do mobile banking, but she won't. She goes to the bank to do her banking, which is fine, but the mobile apps for banks today are very, very super secure. And I think you can take a picture, you can find out what the QR code is and look at it, and then be smart about clicking through to see what happens. But the problem is when you click through on a rogue QR code that's asking for access to your Ethereum wallet, you have to be a little bit careful because it can't get into your wallet without your permission. It can try and say, hey, I'm going to give you this deal, or I'm going to make you a 0.5% owner in my NFTs, but you got to click here to find out. Well, you click there to find out, and then you're going to get a pop-up from your wallet saying, do you trust this site? Do you sign this site? And that's when you really have to look at it. Is this the right website? Do I really want to do this? Should I go into my Discord server and ask somebody if this is a scam? I guess people just get tired of wondering and working. Just like that Me6 scam. There were several people who clicked and lost all their Ethereum, and they put up screenshots. My balance is now 0. And these are sort of, smart people who understand what Me6 is and what security is, and they're in the conversation, and yet they got taken. I don't really understand it. But we keep working together to figure it out. And now it's blood pressure break time. Returning in a moment. And we are back live here on Bowls.tv. BOLES.tv television. Hey, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Oh, I forgot to give you the greatest quote that I've heard in a long time. I'm going to share an old one, but the new one I just heard is from our new friend, Alexander Grushansky, where I invited him to do a Facebook Live, and they kind of said, well, I'm on the front line. I have 4 kids. Okay. And then he said this, and I'm reading it. Have a great day and peaceful skies. I love that. That might be my new sign-off. Have a great day and peaceful skies. Now that's a guy who is in Ukraine who does not have peaceful skies, who has threats and war coming from above. It's very moving. So now we'll have a brief discussion about how things change and why things change. And we often like to divide our lives into good and bad, and do and don't do, and effective and not effective. And we assume and we judge and we leap to conclusions. And I'll give you an example of one of them. If you remember last week, I discussed our 3 and our 4 balloons behind me. 34th wedding anniversary coming up. Hey, it's Gordon. Here's my great quotation for today. I greatly appreciate it. Quote, once again, we need to delay this demo. End quote. Monday me will hate today me, though. LOL, a Zoom meeting on Monday is never fun. Oh, it sounds like somebody escaped. That might be the stomach flu going around everywhere, affecting everybody. Maybe even infecting HVAC machines in Queens. But good for you. Who wants that? Nobody wants a Zoom meeting. Nobody. Unless it means you can telecommute, then everybody wants it. So here is my example of me thinking and acting and speaking without really realizing it. And the 3 and 4s for a 34th anniversary coming up in July, and my 3 and 4 balloons are not lasting very long. My October Halloween big balloon tree lasted about 2 months. My heart-shaped Valentine's Day balloons lasted about 3 months. The 3 and the 4 are barely lasting a week. I'm afraid in a few days they're going to be on the ground. And at first I thought, well, it's the air conditioning. It's when it's cold outside, these balloons go beep. And then it gets hot and then they go beep. But we're being hot and cold and hot, and they're just staying in that state. But if you remember, I showed you a balloon with ferns on it. And when we purchased it, they were supposed to be sort of white with these green ferns, but they actually turned out to be transparent. And I was disappointed, because who wants a transparent balloon? Well, assuming, old man, this is that balloon today. I would call this opaque, white. I would call it white. It's white in real life. On a stream, it might not look white, but it's definitely sort of whitish, opaque-ish. Before, I could pull this up like this and see through and wave at you, if you remember. And then I played it like a drum. And worried about getting a DMCA takedown notice. Didn't happen. Still trying. So there you go. So old me, hey, gotta fill some time on the live stream. Let's complain about the balloon. It's transparent, and then as it loses a little bit of air, and the stuff that comes out of it, and you have this opaque, beautiful Celebration fern plant balloon, of which we have 80 of them, for installation on our wonderful and terrific anniversary coming up. And speaking of wonderful and terrific, today, I just started this live stream and said, go. Ready, set, go. I didn't restart. I didn't close everything. I just said, I'm not doing it anymore. because I did that for 3 days, and yesterday everything froze and I started all over again. And then the camera didn't work. NVIDIA Broadcast could not find the camera. It lost control of the camera, and then I said, hey, here's the camera, and then it found the camera. So I don't know what's going on. The machines can do the work, and the machines are doing the thinking. So I made this terrible assumption, and I was sort of disappointed with myself that I was bad-mouthing a beautiful balloon, and I'm not a balloon loon. So it made me think, It made me think about Robert Frost and his wonderful poem that I have celebrated many times on my Human Being podcast, on bowlesblogs.com, and in general conversation with students and people alike. And this is the article that I wrote. This is 10 years ago. The Strong Are Saying Nothing. Ian Jones, NFT artwork for you back there is the banner. And this is a agricultural poem. The Strong Are Saying Nothing. And this is the poem. And I'm going to read the poem because I love the poem. The Strong Are Saying Nothing by Robert Frost. I think this is like 1921, when America was agricultural and your whole life was planting and growing. The soil now gets a rumpling soft and damp, and no regard to the future of any weed. The final flat of the hoe's approval stamp is reserved for the bed of a few selected seed. There is seldom more than a man to a harrowed piece. Men work alone, their lots plowed far apart, one stringing a chain of seed in an open crease, and one still stumbling after a halting cart. To the fresh and black of the squares of early mold, the leafless bloom of a plum is fresh and white. Though there's more than a doubt if the weather is not too cold, for the bees to come and serve its beauty aright. Wind goes from man to man in wave on wave, but carries no message of what is hoped to be. There may be little or much beyond the grave, but the strong are saying nothing until they see. Now that is a lesson, a very Midwestern lesson, in keeping your mouth shut. There is tremendous value in just wait and see. The weak get frazzled. The weak make decisions. The self-anointed weak pick on balloons. When the strong could have said, I thought this transparent balloon was going to be opaque. Maybe I'll just see what happens. And then you would have been proven right. And how many times in our lives have we said, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen before it happens? Well, maybe, maybe not. And so if you try to live that motto, that lesson of life that Robert Frost gave to us, the strong are saying nothing until they see. I want proof. I want evidence. I think I know what's going on. I think the ground is going to be fine, but there could be mold. After the grave, it may be death or it may be eternal life. I don't know. What's the point of talking about it now? We'll find out when we get there. The strong are saying nothing until they see. And then I realized that poem was really the link into our next most important topic of conversation today. And I'm going to show it to you right now. Whoops. This looks like a dossier. And it is. It's also, I guess you would call a book, but it looks like a giant handout for a class. This is a sticker, but it's not a sticker. This is origami, but it's not origami. It's just a photograph. The title of this book is American Origami. And the strong are saying nothing until they see. Now this book, as you can see here, is stapled. Talk about retro. Talk about growing up. Talking about publishing your own chapbook of poems. Now this is very 1970s. But this was just published. And it's a very difficult book to discuss. And this is $80. This is an $80 book. I'll show you the website in a minute. But American Origami is a condemnation of American life. It is the archaeology of killing our children, memorialized in this beautiful American Origami book. This artist Andre Gonzalez went to several places. And it's unwieldy, but you can see. Here we go. We'll read it together. This book is about Columbine. Red Lake High School. You ever heard of that? Virginia Tech? Northern Illinois? Sandy Hook? Oklahoma College? Community College? Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. All the sites of major mass shootings of our children. And I believe the author worked on this for 6 years, visited every single one of those mass shooting sites, took photographs, then did interviews with the grieving friends and family of the dead, and memorialize it here in American Origami. The archaeology of killing our children. That is our history. That is our definition. There is no running away from it. It's absolutely 100% how this time in America is going to be remembered in the history books. We did not care if our children were shot in the face with an AR-15 or not. If it happens, it happens. Now, here's the beauty of this book, which is very alarming. As you can see, this is the middle of the book, but this whole side is staples. So it's stapled this way, right? So this is the middle of the book, but it's also the end of the book. So here's the beauty of the book. You open to a page, and you're looking at it like this. This is Columbine. This is Littleton, Colorado. Went to visit Littleton, Colorado. Okay? Beautiful. Green, grass. a trail of sand, a post office delivery truck, and then you get the origami. Hold back the page. And now you get this. Letters to the dead. They were written by the friends of those who were killed. And it's hard to read. And it's very emotional. So then you fold it back down, and you turn the page, and you turn the page, and you turn the page, and it's beauty. And inside, beyond the mask, the death warrants. The love letters to people who will never grow older. And it's just absolutely alarming. Again, Columbine, right? Oh, isn't that wonderful? Isn't this a wonderful book? What a memory book. Oh, wait, let's origami this and look inside. These are the belongings of the dead children that were returned to their parents, putting them in an envelope. And it's not just photographs, they're pictures. Oh, fun, artwork. Fun with a typewriter. And then you origami it, and you open it, and what do you find? Book of death. And there are police reports, there are news reports, grieving parents, letters to the dead. Sandy Hook. Beautiful, right? Oh, gorgeous picture. You origami it. There's all the obituaries of the dead children. This is us. This is our history. And how many shootings and killings have we had since this happened? I'm sure Volume 2 is being worked on right now. We need the archaeological digging. Marjorie Stoneman High. Narrative of what happened, and then you origami it. It's flowers for the dead. It's one of the most beautiful, disturbing, and alarming books I've ever read in my life. American Origami. And here's the official blurb for it on the website, which is just as difficult and strange to look at as what I'm showing you. Because how do you promote this book where you have to open things and page things, and it's like it's printed on a home color printer? That's the paper. It's printer paper. And it's beautifully, beautifully done. Because that's what it is. It's a school project. A school project for the dead. American Origami is the result of 6 years of photographic research and examines and results of a statement of over 700 photographs, which closely examines the epidemic of mass shootings in American schools. The project includes first-person interviews, forensic documents, and press materials, as well as original photographs and text. The varied elements repeat and fold into each other, illuminating relationships between myth-making, atonement, and collective healing. Bound in a unique way, the book creates a parallel world of the past and the present, showing the silenced landscape interwoven with the personal artifacts created by those left behind. And those left behind are not just the dead. Those left behind are the family and the friends of the dead. And this image shows the origami aspect of this. It's really quite alarming. How did we come to this? Where this is part of our day, where this is part of our normal thinking, this is part of what we want for our children. It's disturbing and disappointing and a disappointment. It's an intense book, and it leaves you wondering, where do we go from here? The archaeology of dead children. Quite alive. And more bodies are added to that history every day. And nobody really seems to care. And now we're going to take a very brief blood pressure break. We shall return momentarily. And we're back on Bowles TV, BOLES.TV. I'm David Bowles, and this is live. Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, it's Jana Marie at 11 a.m. Well, on break, as I was thinking about American origami, it's just been an amazing experience. And if you read this once, you're going to destroy it because it's stapled together. They probably could have done a different job, but the book probably would have been $500. But then I thought, no, that's the idea. All falls apart. The next iteration of the origami is trying to hold it all together, put it back together, so someone else can read it, pass it on, even though it's a big mess. And wouldn't it be great if all these staples failed at the same time? And all the papers went fluttering around. And you had to all put them back together again, right? Swap Columbine for Sandy Hook. Any difference? Not really. So ending the show today, we'll talk just a little bit about English and trademarks and ridiculousness in life. I mean, there's some things that are just so stupid, you don't really know how to react to them. And this is when the strong say everything. This is when the strong stand up and shout from the rooftops, "What is going on in this world? Get out of here. We have to fix this." And as we talked about yesterday, in football, most everyone hates the University of Texas football team. They're terrible people. They're terrible administration. The biggest fans of Texas are Texas people. And the rest of the football community tends to really hate Texas. And they thrive on that hatred. Now, if you're a Nebraska fan, you can have some grudging support and understanding for Penn State or Michigan, even Iowa. There's great love for Oklahoma. Because if you're a sports fan, Nebraska versus Oklahoma in the 70s and 80s, great stuff. Worthy competitors. Good schools, right people. Texas, not so much. Which leads me into the Ohio State University. At first, when I saw this, I thought I was reading The Onion. And then I realized, oh, wait, it's not The Onion, it's the Wall Street Journal. And this is where madness comes in, and people say, what's wrong with America? What's wrong with the trademark? What's wrong with the federal government? How does something this stupid get inoculated and added to the legalisms that we must now follow? The Ohio State University officially trademarks the word the. I mean, come on now. I think we have a trademark infraction coming in from Winter Park, Florida, where Gordon Davidescu says the. That'll be $1 million, please, Gordon, paid to the Ohio State University. And it's a big joke. The. I wonder if pronunciation matters. The, as in mall. And when players introduce themselves, as they do now on television, and even in the pros, when they say what their college university is, there's the whole big ridiculousness of the Ohio State University. And I always thought, hey, if anybody asks me, I'm going to say the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Meow. And they're so proud of it. They're almost as unbearable as Texas. Ohio State. Almost. Texas wins all the time for being the most disgusting. Ohio State's a very close second now. How did this happen? Well, you know it's all about money, of course. The Ohio State University, has successfully trademarked the word the in a victory for the college and its branding that is sure to produce eye rolls from Michigan fans and other rivals. Stating the full name of the school has become a point of pride for Ohio State's athletes when introducing themselves on the television during games. The three-letter article the, has also become an important part of the school's merchandise apparel. Now all that's fine. I mean, they're nuts. They want to say fine. But now what? The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office approved the Ohio State's application on Tuesday. The trademark applies to t-shirts, baseball caps, and hats. The has been a rallying cry in the Ohio State community for many years. This is in the Wall Street Journal. This ridiculousness. Ohio State, the Ohio State University registered the word as a trademark to protect the university's brand. The Ohio State's trademark and licensing program makes about $12.5 million annually before the university, which funds the student scholarships and university programs. Universities are historically very particular about their trademarks and say they go to a lot of lengths to enforce their trademarks. There's a lot of value in the university's brand. The trademark produced plenty of jokes on social media. Still the most pretentious thing in sports, one person tweeted. The team that loses to the SEC every year, another person tweeted. Yeah, exactly. Ohio State was founded in 1870 under a land grant and was originally named Ohio Agricultural and Mechanical College. The name was changed to the Ohio State University in 1878 to make it clear the school was supposed to be the leading educational institution in Ohio, both in size and financial support from the state legislature. Attorneys for the school said documents filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. You read it, and it's like a comedy skit. I can't get over it. Now, this is where it gets interesting with designer Marc Jacobs beat the school in applying to trademark the word the in 2019. The company planned to use it on clothing and accessories, according to documents filed. The move by Marc Jacobs prompted the Ohio State University to apply for a trademark shortly afterward, Mr. Johnson said. While the Ohio State University objected to the application by Marc Jacobs, the university and the company reached an agreement last year, according to documents filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, allowing both parties to register the branded products for continued use and license. Marc Jacobs declined to comment. Oh, it's just so silly. And I'm reminded of an Ohio State story that directly affected me. When I was a student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Now, that is the official title of our school. Now, Nebraskans say the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. But if you try to say that to an administrator, they will correct you and say it's not at Lincoln. You don't know the name of your own school. It's Lincoln. It's more Midwestern to say at. We all get teased for adding at to the end of our sentences. They know we're from the Midwest because of just that. Where did you put it at? It's true. I am guilty of it. I've been accused and found guilty of that by my professors at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So there was a fellow who was the head of the theater department at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And he had produced one of my plays, very grateful, talented guy. I believe at the time he was making, this is back in 80, and he was making around $50,000 as chairman, PhD, tenured professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Hey, Gordon. In our database, we only have two listings, University of Nebraska and University of Nebraska College of Medicine. Well, that's a big problem. Because UNMC is University of Nebraska Medical Center is very big. It's a trauma, whatever it is, level 4 trauma hospital, something like that. It deals with COVID. It deals with bioinfections. It's huge. And then there's the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, at Kearney, at other satellite campuses. And I don't know why they just can't call it the University of Nebraska. Now there is, the University of Nebraska Omaha, which I do not believe is Omaha. It's just the University of Omaha. The University of Nebraska Omaha, which is where UNMC is located. And there was a big fight with the Big Ten where when Nebraska joined the Big Ten, some of the schools went after their medical accreditation, saying, you don't fit because your medical center that you're trying to claim you own as the University of Nebraska-Lincoln is actually in Omaha, which is 50 miles away. You, if you want this accreditation with the Big Ten, have to have your medical school in the same area connected to your main campus. And you don't. There's AAUP something. And if Nebraska were better liked, they could have received a waiver. It had never been a problem before. I think there were 3 members of the Big Ten who objected and made it an issue, and then they forced a vote. And Nebraska didn't fight to keep their accreditation. They lost it. It was a big, fat tragedy and ridiculous. So UNMC is a big home run. And the University of Nebraska, it really is the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Now, they don't say that when they play football. It's just Nebraska, period. So I guess Gordon's database is correct. So the chair of our department is making $50,000. And every once in a while, when you're in a good position like that, you get headhunter inquiries. And someone from Ohio State contacted him and said, hey, you've done this and this. You do original plays. We want you to come to Ohio State and run our program here. He said, I have a life here. I've lived in Lincoln for 20 years. I have friends, family. And Ohio State said, name your price. And so he gave them an outrageous price, which I believe was $120,000 a year, because he was making 50. And they said, deal, be here in a month. Bye. And they hung up the phone. And he couldn't believe it. He was shocked. He was thrilled. He was going to almost triple his salary, go to a much better university. They have 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 undergraduates. Nebraska has, 26? A lot more money, a lot more prestige. Running the theater program there, that is a dream. He didn't want it, and then he did. Because they met his price. So he left, and the theater department never really recovered. He had a lot of New York contacts. He was very interesting. I graduated a year or two later, so it wasn't an issue for me, but I understand there was a lot of problems left behind. And one of the people who got the job was hired, said I had an MFA, worked on the Will Rogers Follies on Broadway, And I got a call from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, who said, hey, do you know this guy? He says, working on Will Rogers Follies. I said, well, I worked on that show every day for 3 months. I don't know who it is. They said, what? I said, his name isn't even in the playbill. And the University of Nebraska-Lincoln said, what? So they did an investigation. They found out this guy lied about his New York Broadway credits. And that he also lied about having an MFA. Nobody did any checking. You walk in the door. Would you like to be chairman of our theater program? Well, sure, I would. Do you have an MFA? Of course. Did you work on Broadway? Yeah. Will Rogers Follies. Who's going to know? Who's going to check? And nobody did until. And that conversation I had from Nebraska, we were just chatting on the phone. Said, hey, we have a new director. He worked on Will Rogers Follies. I said, oh, really? Who? What's the name? Meow, meow. I said, doesn't sound familiar. I'll ask around. And I did. I talked to my mentor, Peter Stone. I talked to stage manager. They said, there's no such person on the show. So I called back and said, hey, by the way, we're talking. That person doesn't exist. Well, that was a storm. That was an embarrassment. So I think they were formally firing the guy, but I think he just disappeared into the night. Never came back, never said anything, just left. And that is such an embarrassment. How is that possible? To be hired to run a major Midwestern theater program and nobody checked your background. Well, hey, that's our show today. Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of heartache, had a lot of interest. We learned about American origami, NFTs, and wishing you peaceful skies. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach me in email, david@bowles.tv. You can find me on Twitter @DavidBowles. Super follows to follow. We're getting more super followers now because you can now super follow via the website. And that doesn't have to be on iOS, or Android. You can now follow directly from the website. Have a lot of fun, a lot of interesting perks. Check it out @DavidBowles. On Facebook, we are just regular old BOLES. On Instagram, Bowles Books. TikTok, hey, we are Bowles TV. Put up a few more videos and they're getting views. I find the whole thing shocking. I don't really understand it, but I'll just go for it. And on Discord, hey, join us, say something. We're there 24/7. Always fun to hang out and check in. So until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, may you have a delicious nap, a wonderful wake up, and a good rest. And when ye shall awaken, may your soul be filled with joy, anticipation, and maybe just a little bit of origami. Gordon says, thanks for having us. I say, Gordon, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow.